Okay. So, there is a lot of request from regarding that item analysis in evaluation, assessment and evaluation. That is why I taking this video lectures to clarify on that point. So, once I since I have taken the same lectures, so I just start with assessment and evaluation and then go for the item analysis, and we have a two example. I will sort it that two example, and I think this will be clear all your doubt. So, if you see that I have said that the purpose of the examination system is to reinforce the teaching and learning. That the purpose of the examination system is not only to provide that grade and marks to the students. So, if you see that my block diagram, already you have seen it, that once you write down the criteria of evaluation, means once I write down the course goal and I know. So, I write down the course goal, module goal, unit goal in outcome based curriculum, and my purpose of the evaluation is to test whether a student has reached the goal or not. Okay. So, this may be some process may be a continuous evaluation which can be based on the formative assessment, that whether they have reached the lecture 1 goal, lecture 2 goal or lecture 3 goal, or module 1 goal, module 2 goal or module 3 goal, and also the course goal. So, at the end of the whole coursework is completed, what I want to test that given that course goal, whether course goal means course skill, whether the student has acquired those skill or not. If student acquire those skill, then I can assign them, okay, he has this skill. Next, if you find some skill none of the student can acquire, that means the questions is raised, how many of us as a teachers after that marking the answer script, revisit the answer script and take the lesson, what mistakes we have done either in teaching learning process or assigning the goal. That is called feedback system in the next batch. So, what I want from here, that once I take the test and find out that most of the students are not able to achieve certain goal. So, I can see, if you see the diagram, evaluate the effectiveness of the instruction. So, that means that attainment has not done, that course goal none of the student can achieve. So, either there is a problem in my teaching learning process, so that student does not acquire that skill, or maybe I have set this skill so high which is not achievable within this coursework. So, here the purpose of the evaluation is not to provide the certificate to the students that you are a competent in this skill, this skill, this skill and this skill. As a teacher, I should analyze each of the test item and find out how many student has not acquired that skill and what is the reason for not acquire that skill. It may be reason that my teaching learning process does not support that skill, or it may be process that I have not yet, or you can say that I have set a goal which is not achievable during this teaching learning process. So, then I can modify my goal or teaching learning process, so that for the next batch this should not be happen. So, if you see, I have already said that the evaluation has two, norm reference and here is the criteria reference, because criteria is fixed. Criteria is the course goal, whether student has attained the goal or not. Okay. So, this is the purpose for assessment and evaluation. Now, if I go to the general theory, what is assessment and what is evaluation, which is very clear in these slides. So, assessment is the process for gathering data, or you can say that assessment is a technique which has many parts. I can say I can take class test, quiz, assignment, term paper, oral presentation, case study, so that we can find out whether students are following my lectures or not, or whether students are going in right path to the course goal or not. If they deviated from the path, as a guide or mentor, our role is to put them in the path. So, what I want in assessment, basically in assessment what I want, find out the misconception among the students what kind of misconception exist for a particular or individual student also can be possible, and then what kind of remedial lesson I can propose to the particular students for their removing the misconception. Okay. And evaluation, once you collect the assessment data throughout the year or the end of the examination, then you can assign a competence of the learner, whether learner is capable or whether learner is acquire that skill or not. So, suppose I said at the end of the course you should able to design this thing, whether learner is able to design that things or not, that is called the evaluation. So, an evaluation I can certify the learner or in evaluation process based on the assessment and data collected in various methods, class test, evaluation, term paper, all methods data has to be collected and put in particular weight and find out whether that learner has attained that skill or not. Okay. So, this is the assessment and evaluation. Now, I go for that. The many people are saying that item analysis we have a doubt. Okay. So, go for the item analysis. Do not see that slides, let us think in here. So, suppose I have taken a test, or I have taken this kind of test. I can give you an example. I take this kind of test. So, this is the one test result, that in a class I have a 15 students and I take a test of 50 marks, total marks is 50, and I have a 5 test item. So, each test item carries a mark 10. Okay. So, I am not going to multiple choice, I will come multiple choice later on. Okay. So, I have a 50 marks assignment, or I have a 50 marks question paper for 5 questions. I have taken a test for 15 students. Now, I want to know which questions is very easy. What is the meaning of very easy? The questions which is can answer by everybody. So, if the questions is answered by everybody, then it is very easy, because everybody can answer. So, out of 15 students, if I take the assessment, then in perfect assessment it should be marks should be in Gaussian distribution. So, there will be a upper group students and there will be a lower group students. The students which are make upper marks and the students which are the lower group students. Let you can say that 3 dB down kind of things. Let 27% of total students are upper group students and 27% of total students is the lower group students. So, if you see this table, I have a 1 to 15 rank students, I have ranked them and so 27% nearly 4 students is in the upper group and 4 students is in the lower group. So, those are the lower group students, those are the upper group students. If I take all students, then I do not conclude any value. So, if I take this, those are the higher students and those are the lower grade students, or I can say. Now, if I say the item number 1 is very easy or test item number 1 is very easy, what is the meaning? That all the upper group students and lower group students should be able to answer it. So, I can say this facilitation value, which means that whether the question is very easy or not, is the marks obtained by the upper group plus mark obtained by the lower group divided by the total marks. So, if I say marks obtained by the upper group for question number 1, 10 plus 9 plus 10 plus 10, so 39 plus marks obtained by lower group students 3 plus 2 5, 5 plus 5 10 plus 4 14 divided by what is the total marks. So, I have a total marks, total number of students is what? Total number of students, upper group is 4 and lower group is 4. If all students answer correctly, so what is the total marks? 40 for upper group and 40 for lower groups. So, out of 80. So, out of 80, if all lower group and upper group students give the correct answer, then I can say this question is very easy. So, facilitation index is 1. If none of the students of upper group and lower group cannot answer, facilitation value is 0. So, once means easy, 0 means so difficult that none of the upper group and lower group students given the answer. So, facilitation index Fi is nothing but a upper group marks plus lower group marks divided by total marks, 39 plus 14 plus 39 divided by 80. Is clear? So, facilitation index is the measurement of how easy is the questions. Now, if I setting a question paper for assign a rank among the students, so there is a purpose of question paper. If I setting a question paper to find out where there is a competence in a particular course, then the item whether the item will. So, ultimate goal is that every student should able to answer that questions, and that question should test one of my outcome of the course, not that define Newton's second law of motion, which everybody can answer. Only that if I start a course, if this is the course goal, the skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, skill 4 has to be acquired. So, all those skill has to be tested in my end exam, so that I can assign that everybody is competent in particular case. So, in that case this kind of analysis does not required, because I want everybody should give the correct answer. Now, suppose I have to rank the students, evaluate the students, and I have to rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, in that case I have to find out if I set a question paper which is answered by everybody. So, use of that question to provide the ranking of the students is useless, because everybody can answer. So, I cannot differentiate who is the good best students, good students, who is the bad students. Okay. Now, if I want to if I give a question which facilitation Fi is 0, then I can say it is a useless test item, because nobody can answer it. So, what is the use of that test item? So, if it is a norm reference assessment, that means when I have to rank the students from 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, my question paper I should set such that the facilitation value should not be 1 and should not be 0. It will be in between 1 and 0. Okay. So, that I can use that test item to assign a rank among the students. But whatever I have discussed in during the outcome based curriculum design, that at the end of the semester exam I should test whether the student achieve the outcomes or not. That is my first questions, first criteria. Second criteria is that if I have to assign the rank, then there will be some questions which help me to assign rank them, whether they are who is best student, who is the. So, skill has a level. I have acquired that skill in proficient way. So, I can say that whether the student has acquired that skill or not, if that acquired the skill in what is the complexity level of that skill. Okay. So, the purpose of this kind of item analysis to set a question paper where I should evaluate the students and assign them a rank, but this is not the purpose in our classroom activity where we want to test whether the students has acquired the skill or not. Okay. So, have you understand the facilitation value for a summative type of question paper? Suppose this is a multiple choice question paper, same thing. So, there is a 30 students given multiple choice question answer. This is the 30 students table. If you see the table is here. So, if you see there is a 30 student is there. So, if it is 30 students, so 27% of 30 students, 8 students in upper group, 8 students in lower group. So, I can say 8 students in upper group, let us mark them, 8 students in lower group, 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now, suppose I want to find out the facilitation value of test item 1. So, what is that? Number of students, let us every correct answer give me 1 marks 1. So, number of students give the correct answer in upper group. How many? Out of 8, 7 students give the correct answer. Number of students give the correct answer in the lower group. Out of 8 students, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 students give the correct answer. So, if all students give the correct answer, what is the marks? 8 plus 8. So, it is nothing but a 11 by 16. Is clear? Now, if it is a discrimination index, if it is DI, what does DI stand for? DI stands for how good is the test item to discriminate the good students over bad students. So, if it is discriminate, then the total marks given or total marks, you can, if I go to the again table number 1. So, total marks obtained by upper group for test item 1, it is 39 minus total marks obtained by the lower group, which is 3 plus 2 5 plus 5 10 plus 4 14, divided by, here it is division. So, out of, so I want to know whether how good is test item for discriminating good students over bad students. So, total marks obtained by the upper group minus total marks obtained by the lower group divided by the total marks of the each group. So, it is nothing but a 40. Okay. If total marks obtained by the upper group is less 40, lower group is 0. So, it discriminative index should be 1. So, that test system very good, which can discriminate the good students over the bad students. When all upper group students total marks minus all lower group students also give the correct answer divided by 40, it will be 0. So, if a test item DI is 0, that means this test item does not discriminate the good students over bad students. If only upper group can answer, that means this test item very good to discriminate the good students to bad students. Okay. So, DI, discriminability index, is nothing but a how this test item is, how the test item, degree of test item, how it is discriminate the good students over the bad students. Similarly, if it is our multiple choice questions, so let us test item 1 in upper group, all how many students give the correct answer? 7. Lower group, how many students give the correct answer? 4. 7 minus 4 by 8. So, it is nothing but a 3 by 8. Okay. So, whether it is a multiple choice questions, whether it is a summative questions, I can find out solution value and discriminative index. Okay. So, there is another item I have said, which is called effectiveness of the distractor, which come only for that multiple choice questions. If you say many times we provide a multiple choice questions, we make a multiple choice questions, let us question number 1 and we say the choice A, B, C, D. What do we want to test? In question 1, we want to test the competence of the students or skill of the students in these questions. Okay. Now, what is the choice A, B, C, D? So, the purpose of my assessment is that whether student concept is clear or not. Okay. So, let us 2 to the power 3. What are the possible misconceptions? Possible misconceptions is that some students can add them 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Some students can multiply them 6. Some students can write the correct answer, which is 8. So, if I give the choice 8, 5, 6 and none of the above, if you see none of the above does not related to any misconception. So, what is the use of that choice? So, when you design a multiple choice questions, the choices are not arbitrary. If you see, sometimes we provide 3565 into 3575 and we give a choice only when only one option has last digit 5. So, without multiplying, a student can give the correct answer based on his common sense, but what we are missing, we are not able to judge whether a student can multiply by the 4 digit number by a 4 digit number. So, when I want to test whether a student can multiply a 4 digit number with a 4 digit number, then my choice should be where is the possible misconception multiplying these two numbers. So, when we design any test multiple choice questions, the choice is not arbitrary. Choice is that how much the options are able to distract the misconception having students, so that they are able to choose it. So, that means, if a choice, if suppose if A is my correct answer, B and C or D are the choice. So, if it is good distractor, that means it good that there is a misconception. If somebody has a misconception, he can choose possibility of choosing the B is there, then I can say the most of the, you can say the lower rank students or lower group students will tendency to choose this B. So, if I say effectiveness of the distractor for a particular test item, let us in test item 1. So, if you see, let us distract effectiveness of distractor A. So, option A, upper group students is only one student can choose. So, who will be much more distracted? Lower group students. Find out the lower group students. How many students? 2 students are distracted in lower group. So, effectiveness is that how many lower group student is distracted minus how many upper group student is distracted divided by the. So, total marks, if it is summative marks based, the total marks obtained by the, or you can say the, sorry, it is not marks based, it is a multiple choice question. So, how many lower group student had choose this option minus how many upper group student had choose this option divided by the group size is the called effectiveness of the distractor. So, it will be 1 by 8. If I see effectiveness of the distractor D in the item number 1, so lower group student 1, upper group student 0 divided by 8, 1 by 8. Now, there may be a option, or you can say the A, B, C, D, that is not chosen by anyone, lower group and upper group, then effectiveness of the distractor is 0. So, if you see, the effectiveness of the distractor will be maximum when more number of lower group students choose the distractor. So, that means that if your distractor is very good, so your misconception, so you are only testing the misconception of the choice, the choice are only misconception, then the bad students has a high probability choose that distractor. So, designing a multiple choice questions, the options are not arbitrary. Each and every option must be related to some misconception on these questions, so that I can effectively use those option or distractor value to find out the, or you can effectively find out the misconception or conception of the particular students. So, guessing will be not there, because arbitrary guessing, maybe somebody without understanding can tick A. So, guessing can be corrected also, statistically guessing can be corrected. So, that can be done in guessing correction, that is there in the slides, you can go through that. Another choice is there, which is nothing but a call, how do you make the question paper? Your question paper should be very clear and it should only test what you want to test. If you want to design a question paper for ranking the students, then your test items would be selected where facilitation value is not 0 and not 1, and where effectiveness of where the DI discriminative index is very high. And if it is multiple choice questions, each of the distractor must be effective. If the effectiveness of the distractor is 0, then whether you give that option or not does not matter. And when you write the body of the question, it should be very clear, because your purpose is not confuse the students in the questions. Your purpose is to find out whether they have that certain skill or not. So, if you see in the end of the slides, I have given that things also, purpose of the question paper. So, you can look at it and find out whether it is useful or not. So, suppose you give this kind of questions, nobody wants what cone do, what does the cone do, does not understand by anybody. But if you break down it, suppose your purpose is to find out the density of that liquid, mention that then derive, calculate value or derive, draw. So, specific purpose, do not think that okay, the student should understand the question such a way that what I understand. The purpose of the evaluation is to reinforce the teaching learning. So, that means my purpose of the setting a question paper is that I want to find out whether students has acquired that skill or not, whether students has a misconception on this or not, whether students are competent enough to certify them he is a good student in my class. So, this is the 3 purpose for evaluation. Okay? Thank you.